When you're blue and kinda lonely too, you'll find a smile will go a long, long way. Though you're down, don't sit around and frown. A little smile will go a long, long way. Never grieve, just try to make believe the sky is blue, although you know it's gray. Don't you find it's just a waste of time? You'll find a smile will go a long, long way.
Welcome in. It's another edition of Ron and Jen's Great Escape, our attempt to put a more positive spin on what's going on in the world around us as the world around us continues to spin completely out of control. So we're not going to try to control things. We're not going to try to control things, but what we're going to do is try to put a smile on your face and have a little fun with the news. How's that
Sure.
sound?
Why not, Ron?
All righty. Let's talk pandemic.
That'll put a smile on your face.
You know, you've said multiple times over the course of a lot of our podcasts, and I do agree with you that there's no way we're going to be going back to where we were. But there's an argument out there being made by Dr. Fauci that actually could be happening. We'll get to him momentarily, but I agree with you. I don't see, and the governor said he doesn't see any new complications coming down, even though cases are going up. But I'm with you. I can't see people embracing, oh, sure, let's put those masks back on for a short time.
Oh, my gosh.
No, not going to happen.
No, listen, I have been getting out of my house more often over the last few weeks, and just because I got stuff to do. Nobody's wearing a mask. Nobody's wearing a mask in church. Nobody's wearing a mask at Home Depot. Nobody's wearing a mask anymore in my mother's little complex. And there's a big sign on the door, please wear masks in common areas. Nobody is following. Nobody gives a...
Well, it's a suggestion.
Nobody gives a crap anymore. They're just kind of rolling with it. Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got, and this is what's so confusing, I think, that you've got the people on the news who you want to try. You got to, I feel like, it just can't all be BS, right? It can't. It can't be. I don't know. So then they're telling us about these variants, and I know people that have been sick, and you want to do the right thing. And then Fauci's coming back, and people are yelling and arguing. Just what's the big deal with wearing a mask? I still wear a mask everywhere I go.
There's no big deal in my estimation.
You wear a mask because you just don't know.
I can never see myself. Know. I can never see myself getting on an airplane ever again without a mask.
Yeah.
I will always have a mask on in an airport and in a scheduled flight from here until I'm underground. And that's just the way I'm going to play it. And I debate. I still carry my masks in my car, and I go back and forth now. And I think I am going to start to wear it again more frequently when I go to the grocery store and things like that. But I'm not going to live in fear.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not living in fear. That's the thing. A lot of people, and I think that the consternation about the masks stems from, don't tell me what to do. I listened to you for a long time, and everybody seems to not know what's going on. But if you're vaccinated, who cares? And they tell you to wear a mask, just what can it hurt? The worst part about wearing a mask is if you're unvaccinated and you have to work out. That's when it gets a little dicey. But so what if your kid has to wear a mask? There are Christian groups or Catholic groups that are suing, and they say that they don't want their kids wearing it in the fall and this and that. And I just feel like there are hills, as you used to say this, Ron, there are certain hills to die on. That is not, it seems to me, that's not the kind of fight that you want to take out. It's a stupid mask. Wear it for a little while longer. What can it hurt?
Yeah, what's the big deal?
It gives you acne, and maybe it muffles your speech. So what? But people are going nuts about it. So
well, Fauci was on CNN over the weekend. He was on the State of the Union on CNN, and he said that masks may be making a comeback for the vaccinated. He said we're moving in the wrong direction. So we'll see. But again, it's just guidance. The CDC, it's all about guidance. They're not going to. It's not going to be an edict.
Well, it is about guidance, but I also, first of all, I don't really care for much of what Fauci says anymore. I wanted to believe him in the beginning, and then everything and I've said this over the, you wear the mask, don't wear a mask. The Surgeon General, it's not good for you, don't wear a mask, but wear a mask. And now it's, well, we should do this, and these variants. But see, the thing with the variants is that it's not like when COVID was, all of a sudden coming out and killing thousands and thousands of people. It's a bad flu. And yes, it can kill you. Yes, there are people, but it's not as though it's this tsunami coming across the country killing people. And I think that's why people are ticked off too, because they feel as though people are trying to instill fear into them so that they can have us wear masks again. And then don't even talk about mandated vaccinations, because I really believe that's coming.
Well,
everybody said Valerie Jarrett was on the news talking about it. MSNBC is pushing it. Now you have Sean Hannity. You have people in the Republican Party saying, get vaccinated, get vaccinated. So I just feel like, I need to say this. I know I've talked a lot already, but people, the unvaccinated, are getting blamed. But I haven't heard anybody say, what about the hundreds of thousands of undocumented people? Whether you agree with that, it's a whole nother kettle of fish, coming into this country, no vaccination cards. We don't know if these people have been inoculated. They're being bused to Florida, the Midwest. They're living in Texas among, kids are going into schools. Why isn't anybody mentioning that?
You don't hear much of an argument about that. Not yet. Not yet. I
anyway,
expect that'll escalate. Locally, some choices to be made. Doesn't it seem like the kids just got out of school? You know why? They did. They did. Now they're already talking about, what are we going to do when the kids come back? And Rhode Island's superintendents of schools, and there are so many of them, they said, hey, man, why? Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Why? What are you putting this on us for? Meaning, whether or not the kids have to mask up when they go back to school. There is no across the board. It's going to be left up to the individual school superintendents. At least that's what the governor said. But now, they're all saying, why stick us with this decision? It's really, really difficult. So it's going to be an inconsistent situation.
Oh, of course.
Because not all of these supers are going to get together and say, let's all make a decision together, hands in. Not going to happen.
Well, nobody wants to be canceled. Everybody's terrified of being doxxed or canceled or getting fired. And I think, and they should be. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
You make a decision or you say anything that people don't like, and all of a sudden, there's pitchforks running, with people with pitchforks running to your house.
But the supers are in a no-win situation. Because if they say yes to masks, there's going to be a huge pushback from parents saying, why are you masking our kids? And on the other hand, if they say, don't worry about it, no masks, which Texas, by the way, has already said, no surprise there. Don't worry about it, no masks. What do you mean? You're leaving our children unprotected. They are in a no-win situation.
Well, why don't you, fine, you guys don't want to make a decision, you don't have any balls, let parents make the decision.
But that's the same thing. It's just going to still present the same inconsistencies and the same arguments on both sides.
Well, why do we need you? Well, why do we need uniformity with respect to that? Can't it be an individual decision? And parents make the decision for their kids that are underage. Susie, wear your mask.
It won't come to that because it's being passed down to the supers. The super's going to have to make that decision.
Well, then the supers need to have the balls. Somebody's got to make a decision. I'll make the decision. Put the damn masks on.
They're the ones who are going to start making the decision. We have a race card story.
Oh, we don't have a shark story?
No shark story.
No, we have really?
Yeah, no shark story.
Does it have to do with the Olympics?
No, it has to do with National Grid and India Point Park. This group is alleging racism in refusal to bury power lines in certain areas of Providence, right around India Point Park. So how racism plays into this is because they say, well, it's pretty dramatic when you take a look at where the wires underground are, and they're in predominantly white neighborhoods and people who are making more money than other areas. It is almost laughable, I guess. But National Grid says, hey, look, Providence likely has the most underground infrastructure of any area in the Ocean State. So back and forth we go, and now a group alleges racism and the refusal by National Grid to bury power lines. You know how expensive it is to bury power lines? It's outrageously expensive.
Yes. Well, when I was living on Cape for a while in Mashpee and Sandwich, and I was working at XTK, we would have these discussions because I'm telling you, it would be a wind fart, and you would lose power on the Cape because nothing was underground. No, hardly anything at the time. And you would lose power for 2-3 days. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, and you asked me this earlier, who pays for this?
Moi.
Yes, the consumer. That gets passed down to, so you want a service, it gets passed down to the consumer, and then people are griping about their bills. So how do you rectify this?
People are probably
What-
saying, "Oh, Ron, so easy for you to say because you live in that affluent East Greenwich neighborhood with underground power utilities." Well, guess what? They got to come up somewhere,
Yeah.
and where they come up is right along Frenchtown Road. So you travel that when you come here to record this award-winning show.
Do. Yes.
Take a look at those power lines. They're all above ground because that's where they come up. And guess what happens? Somebody farts, and you lose power for hours on
Hey,
end.
Steve.
Hours on end. That guy behind us.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
He farts, and the neighborhood loses power. So,
Yeah.
so that's why I wound up putting in a generator.
And that's a smart move.
Yeah, and it's a smart move.
mean-
It's a smart move for resale. It's a smart move for living your life in East Greenwich, even though you have underground power lines, because
listen.
the power goes off a lot.
And here's the thing, people might say that about where you live, Ron. But first of all, I know how hard you've worked your whole life. And two, the thing is, you pay so much in taxes. These people pay to live in the section. I mean, you pay. I live in Riverside. My neighborhood, my mom drove through with me when I first moved in, and she saw the neighborhood, didn't say a word. We get down to near the carousel. All she says is, "Well, this is an upgrade, isn't it?" I said, "Well, there it is, Mom. Sometimes you speak without saying anything."
That's what older people do.
Yeah, I thought, okay.
We wanted to discuss older people.
That's
We'll
an
do that.
upgrade. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Do that in just a little bit.
Oh, folk.
Hey, we're seeing a lot of wildlife here around Chez St. Pierre because every other street is named after a critter in the area in which I live.
Don't mention your street.
I'm not going to mention.
Yes.
I'm not going to mention. But, the deer are plentiful. We see them constantly now.
Gorgeous. Love them.
And it's always the females. You know that? The males send the females out to look for food and look for water. Those
Wow.
lazy bastards.
Well, it's funny you mentioned this because when I walked in today, I wanted to go say hi to Patty. She was having her lunch in the what do you call it?
Three-season room.
In the 3-season room, and I said, she has a really cute polka dot top on. I said, what a smart top. And so we talked. She's going to work, and Ron says this. So I'm talking to Patty. I said, "Oh, you going to work today?" Ron says, "Well, someone's got to work." I mean, there it is. He's retired. He's sending her out to go make some money.
Just like the Bucks do.
Why not?
The Bucks send the females out in search of food and water and supplies.
You're funny, Ron.
But apparently, tons of rabbits this season.
Oh,
all right?
really?
Yeah. So maybe they got busy earlier. I don't know. But rabbits are always busy.
Well, we did. What did you do during a pandemic? What did many people do? They got puppies and they had sex.
And rabbits probably had
And
a lot of sex.
rabbits had sex.
And they're done. It's like, boom,
Yeah.
done.
Did they
Next.
hang out with their mate? Next.
I have no idea.
I mean, do they have... Because I have a story. I don't know if I'm going to do this in Fur Friends or Jen's News. You'll have to tell me. But, I mean, do they mate for life or do they just meet somebody and say, "Hey, you're kind of cute. Come on."
She's for me.
She's for me.
I think
yeah.
that's what they do.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't know anything about them. I just know they're all over the place, and they are Peter Cottontails too, with those.
Yeah, they're
fluffy,
super cute.
Little fluffy. Yeah, they're okay. By the way, we ragged on Bezos fittingly the last time, but apparently the FAA is rectifying exactly who is qualified to be called an astronaut because I guess there's absolute outrage that both Branson and Bezos, because they got 50 miles up in the air, that they're astronauts for 3 minutes.
Can I just tell you that Bezos' space capsule, whatever it was, it really did look like a penis.
It did.
I thought
yeah.
people were just being silly.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh! I looked at footage and I thought that definitely looks like, who did you say? Gold member? Austin Powers.
Austin Powers, Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil. Oh my gosh! It's for real.
Oh,
it's
sure.
Penis being shot in outer space.
On social media, somebody
terrible.
Somebody put the pictures side by side of Dr. Evil.
Side by each.
Side by each. That's what they did in Woonsocket.
That's right.
That's what the Journal said.
Yeah.
And they had a picture of Bezos is a rocket ship, and then right next to it, Dr. Evil's. And I mean, they looked exactly the same. But I'm glad. I'm glad for real astronauts. Who train for years, who actually go up in space on certain missions that are designed to help mankind in some way, shape, or form. And that's what the FAA is saying. I'm like, you guys just went up there because you got toys.
Well,
you didn't go up there for a specific reason to help mankind.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. Have you ever seen that? Oh my God, that Brad Pitt film. It was at Ad Astra. Is that how you say it? Remember, he had
It's terrible.
Right. He had a film right after he was getting divorced from Angelina Jolie, super skinny, and he decided to take on one of these, very serious kind of cerebral roles.
It's an eclectic role.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the whole thrust of this movie, well, listen, a part of the movie is about how people can get on a ship and just go hang out at the moon. And there's Dunkin' Donuts, there's malls, there's things to do, there's games, there's toys, there's frolicking. That's why they're going to the moon, because they eventually, I'm sure, want to privatize,
course.
Getting up there, and we'll be long gone, but in 40, 50 years, the kids today that are causing a ruckus among us, they'll be going up, or their grandchildren, to just go hang out up there.
Hanging on the moon.
That's why they're doing this.
Of course
At least that's what they'll say.
It's capitalism at its best.
Capitalism on the moon.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But at least I'm glad the FAA took this step and said, nah, you guys.
What do they call them then if they're not astronauts?
A-holes.
Okay.
Instead of astronauts.
Okay.
Really, I mean, Bezos, what a brouillon. He's just a brouillon.
Do we hate him because he's the second richest man?
I don't hate anybody.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not. Do we dislike it? That's not a. I don't like the word hate.
I just find.
Though I have used it.
I mean.
Why do we dislike him?
What he had to say. I want to thank all of the people who work for me and all of the people who shop at Amazon because you paid for this. Loosely translated.
It's true.
Loosely translated. You know what that is? Let him eat cake.
Well,
that's it. Let him eat cake.
But it's true.
And by the way, when Antoinette said that, it wasn't real cake. It wasn't like birthday cake. People think it's like birthday cake she was suggesting. Let the masses eat cake. It was like bread. It's like crappy, like 6-day-old bread.
Yeah.
Let him eat cake. So that's my feeling about Bezos. He's a brouillon.
Well.
And let's touch on the Olympics real quick. All right?
Speaking of the Olympics.
Stink burger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, okay, so... Wait, I was driving here and I couldn't remember the theme, and this is what I dun 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 dun. That's Davy and Goliath. Isn't that Davy and Goliath?
That's Davy and Goliath.
Right, those two little.
So, but boom, boom, ba boom.
Oh, yes.
Boom, boom, boom. Then this. Dun, 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 dun. It's called. It's called the Buglers theme. And it's been used since 1968, when ABC had the Olympics back in 1968. That's the first time that we heard that, but they've used it ever since. It's a rousing little ditty.
Well, I like the beginning.
Boom, boom, ba boom, boom, the kettle drums.
Yeah, and didn't they play that on Sundays with Worldwide Sports? Is that the theme they used?
No, you're thinking of...
And the guy would jump off the thing, and then he'd crash.
The agony of defeat.
Oh,
That was the wide world of sports.
Yeah, that was good.
The thrill of victory. And
agony.
And then he'd say, and the agony of defeat. Then you saw that brouillon.
The guy breaks his neck, and they use it.
Absolutely creamed over and over.
Terrible.
Imagine that poor skier. That guy, first of all, can you imagine how painful that had to be? And then he has to watch it over and over and over again every weekend.
I bet he has some serious arthritis by now.
By now, he's probably 6 feet under. But
wow.
I hope he at least got residuals.
Yeah, that's true.
A little payment. But anyway, to the Olympics.
We digress.
The opening ceremony.
Yeah.
A 33-year low in television viewership. Nobody cares.
Well, why do you think that? And by the way, Tokyo, because there's nobody in the stands.
That's one.
Do you know how much money they're losing?
I know.
$800 million just on ticket sales alone.
Imagine how much money NBC's losing on the coverage.
But why do you think people don't give a poop?
One, because there's nobody there to see it, nobody there to cheer it on. So a certain level of ambiance is stripped away from it. Secondly, the host city doesn't want anything to do with it. They're like, get out. We don't want you. And three, I think.
Do you think it's an indictment on NBC?
No, not at all. In fact, NBC, I feel sorry for that network to this degree. They have to come up with all types of creativity to make people want to watch this thing. And so far, mission not accomplished. But I also think the whole political protests, that stuff being allowed, really turns people off.
Well, that's why I'm not watching. I got to be honest with you. I'm not. When Gwen Berry pulled the shenanigans that she pulled, I just thought, this is not how I want to spend my spare time, being lectured to by somebody that's going to use this platform instead of showing tremendous gratitude for, the blessing to honor this country as a top shelf athlete.
I know.
You're going to make some statement because you're a narcissist. I thought, no, I'd rather watch Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And
for real.
Apparently you're not alone. And then the Olympic Committee, in its infinite wisdom, apparently did an about-face on their stance on political protests, and they've decided they're going to let them air, and they're actually going to promote them. So you ask me why people aren't watching this stuff. People are sick of that crap.
Well, LeBron James's group that he supports was out front about that. They were very upset that the IOC made that decision. So I don't know if there was money involved. if it was political pressure, if it was both, if George Soros made a call. But isn't it funny how they just, did a massive 360,
Yep,
or 180 on that
a
one?
big old cave-in.
Yeah.
And so that's all I've got.
That's all you've got?
That's all I've got on my docket. So now we turn to Jen's news.
We are turning to the America's favorite segment because this is what I've been told in my emails. Well, I mean, I'm kind of making that up, but wait, hang on. But we have a new...
Poor Gumby.
Yeah, we have a new... theme song.
Hazel likes it.
Now the mailman's here.
Well, the weasel's here.
Not yet. It's a sock puppet. You like that?
Our last podcast.
That's a surprise.
I know the last podcast.
Were you surprised?
I was.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the sock monkey back in the Jack in the Box until early this morning. It took me like 3 days to get that sucker back in there.
Well, listen, I hope he makes people happy on America's favorite segment.
Certainly influencing Hazel.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, listen, I was going to use this in Fur Friends, but I decided it's just such a happy story, and I love this. So I'm a huge wildlife fan, in addition to domesticated pets. When I saw this, I think I sent it to a bunch of people, and of course they were women, and they cried. A love story on Cape Cod is giving animal lovers goosebumps. Ron, 2 geese couldn't stand to be separated after an injury, left one of them in need of medical care. Staff at the Cape Wildlife Center, which, by the way, let me just say for 1 second, if you're on Cape and you're watching this and you come across a squirrel, I've saved swans before, turtles, people just run them over. You can literally take them down to the Cape Wildlife Center. It's a hospital for wildlife, and they nurse them back to health.
Oh, that's good.
You just drop it off, and they take care of them. So the Cape Wildlife Center in Barnstable noticed a pair of wild geese that lived nearby. One was limping and falling over after being hurt by a snapping turtle. They discovered 2 fractures on his foot. He required surgery. They named this guy Arnold, and they named his mate Amelia. So they went out and they took Arnold in, and all of a sudden, when they had the Arnold behind and they were starting to put him under to work on his feet, there was a faint tapping at the back door. And guess who it was? We turned and we were all pretty shocked to see that his mate had walked up to the porch and was furiously trying to get into the clinic and get to Arnold. So they let them see each other. So they left them in this area where there was the glass slider. And Arnold made it through surgery. He's on the mend.
Good.
And yes, and we'll actually put pictures on our Facebook page on Ron and Jen's Great Escape. Do you do that there for that? Or is that just for my email?
Sometimes.
Whatever. He's really into this today. Anyway, they said, I kid you not, she stood there the entire time during the operation. And when they gave him oxygen and it was all over, she got to poke her little beak in, and they had a meal together.
That's great. And they're doing all right.
Yeah, they're hanging out. And in a few weeks, they said Arnold's going to be back out there, but she has slept there every night. She will not leave.
I've
just
heard stories like
plops
that before.
down and say that.
That's
all right.
a nice story.
Yes, it is. Well, this may not be, I don't know, depending on how old you are, but U.S. life expectancy is declining, and it has declined in 2020, the biggest since World War II.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Life expectancy fell by 1.5 years in 2020 amid the pandemic, the largest one-year decline since World War II. That's from the CDC. They said that Black Americans and Hispanic Americans, forget it, their numbers are even worse. But drug overdoses are playing a huge role in this.
Wow.
Rising homicides had a significant role in this. Overall, by the way, life expectancy in the U.S. was what number do you think?
For male or female?
Or just for people.
78.
78. Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was in 2017 it was about 82. So now it's 78 years old.
So the first time it's gone down since World War II. So
yeah.
Go out and get that dry cleaning.
Yeah, well, that's awful. That's so sad. Well, listen, and I know what it's like to get old, but I can say this because of menopause. I mean, women, our minds go crazy, but I walk in today, poor Ron, he had a slip and fall.
Oh, Lord.
He did.
Talk about
that. Yes, I want to talk about it. So he was going to a friend's house for dinner, and he had bottle of red in one arm, a bottle of white.
No, they were both in one bag.
Oh, they were in. I thought you were carrying them
if
like
you're
this.
You're going to tell the story.
Well, you know how I am. I told the story about how you almost died, and then you had a near-death experience and all that. But he falls down, and my first question was, Did you break the wine
It's
bottles?
the very first thing I thought of,
No,
too.
seriously, no.
Yeah.
But he
Unfortunately, it wasn't Gallo. It was a nice bottle of red, and
it wasn't box wine.
That met its no. I have a little past
Cold
box
duck?
wine. A little past
Little
both.
cold duck?
Past both of those.
But you had
things.
an elderly moment. You had
I did. I slipped. I fell. I got the little stuff going on. A couple of knuckles, but no big deal.
You're going to need Lifeline soon.
I expected to fall on the way home, not on the way.
Well, that's
not on the
true.
way there.
The
but,
clapper.
Yeah, but fortunately, they had plenty of red wine in the house. So
Well, that's good.
everybody. So there's another happy ending, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of happy endings, we do have an alien story for you today. An alien burp may have been detected on Mars.
How about
Ron.
that, huh?
How about this? They're saying that methane blips have pinged on Curiosity's detection system 6 times since the rover landed in a Mars Gale crater back in 2012. Isn't it amazing that that thing is still functioning?
It is.
I mean, scientists weren't able to find a source for the pings and the bings, but they're looking with new analysis. Researchers say they think that they might have found their origin, but they're not sure. So anyway, that's that. So alien burps, that's what they're calling them.
God bless you.
Yeah. So
burp
that's
from
it for
Mars.
Jen's news today.
All right,
It's
that's some
time to
good
put the
stuff.
sock puppet
Yeah,
back
good luck.
into
He just wouldn't agree with me. I don't know.
Well, I got it. Look at that.
Look at that. First try.
See that?
You
I
got
know.
those longer fingers.
I do.
Like me.
Well,
I got
I'm
the
Greek.
I got the sausage fingers.
No, I'm Greek.
You
Yeah,
got great piano
I got
fingers.
that's what Well, I used to play the clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
not the piano.
she used to play the organ, but the monkey died.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
true.
Here all
Hey.
week. Sports, real quick. The Cleveland Indians changed their names from the Indians to the Guardians.
I'm glad you brought this up.
And the very first thing I asked
Yes.
was, why the Guardians? I mean, you have all this time, and the first thing I thought of was that the stupid Marvel connection with Guardians of the Galaxy.
right.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Here's what it is.
Oh.
Apparently, the Guardians were partly selected as a nod to 2 large stone statues along the Hope Memorial Bridge in Cleveland, a local landmark known as the Traffic Guardians, and it's right across from Progressive Field,
Okay.
where they play. So it made a little bit more sense, but not a lot. I
Wait.
mean, that's a terrible name. The Guardians?
Let me ask you this.
It's awful.
Do you think there's pushback because people don't like change, or because people think it's stupid, or because people think it's stupid and they don't like change?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Well, because I did a little research. I did a little
Guardians.
investigative research, and I read that the reason why they came up with the Indian name to begin with. Well, first of all, what is offensive about the word Indian?
The word Indian itself is not offensive. Wahoo Sam, you got an argument there.
Right. I agree with Wahoo Sam, but he's gone.
He's gone.
Well, why are you taking? He gone. Well, why are you taking it? So they say that the reason why they named the team after the Indians was because the first Native American, I guess, played on the Cleveland Indians. So in a nod and an attaboy to that guy, that's why they named it the Indians. But here's the thing. If you're going to do this to the Indians, or if they decide to do it to themselves, how are we not going crazy about the tomahawk chop?
Yeah, the Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. How are we not going nuts about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yep.
I mean, these teams are next, aren't
Well,
they?
Already
I don't want that to happen,
the
by
National
the way.
Hockey League,
But just out of consistency.
once this became a nonsensical brouhaha
Yes.
in Cleveland,
God.
the Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League,
yeah.
they came right out and said, "We ain't changing a thing. Don't even ask for it because it's not offensive to us. We're not changing the team's nickname." What in God's name is offensive about the word Indian?
I don't know. Ron, I can't tell you. I just think that people just want to appease so that their business and can I say this? 90% of the big corporations that are engaging in this sort of behavior, it's all about CYA. They want to ensure
Of
that
course.
they're smooching butts and maybe placating the masses so that they can continue to make the kind of money that they need to make in order to live the lifestyles they live. Right. Is that wrong, do you think? It's my opinion, but that's what I
think it's a fair and valid observation. I'll go
Okay.
that far as to say that. You know what? The nickname of the Indians prior to the Indians, they were called the Naps, Naps. And it was because of their star player, Napoleon Lajoie. Napoleon Lajoie from Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Really?
Yes, Hall of Famer. And he was that big a part of that organization in Cleveland that they actually named the team after him from 1903 to 1911.
Wow.
How about that?
Well, I'm surprised that this kind of stuff is, and then you have the Negro League and you have, the NAACP, the Advancement of Colored People. So you've got all kinds of things that are glaring in your face that you would think they will hit that one first. And instead they go to the Cleveland Indians. And, it's just so crazy. I don't know if it's low hanging fruit. I don't know if people really don't care about this stuff. They just want to make noise and be seen and heard. But anyway, the Cleveland Guardians.
I don't get it.
The Guardians.
At least it makes a little bit more sense to me now because I guess there's a statue that, hundreds of thousands of folks in Cleveland pass by on a regular basis. So I don't know. It makes some.
Hopefully in 6 months,
I think it's a stupid name.
It.
The Cleveland Nanas. I think that would have been
I like
a lot
that.
better.
The Nanas.
The Cleveland Nanas.
Yeah.
Do you have a fur friend story that we can do today outside of the geese?
Well.
And laughing?
No, I have an unusual history. Would you like me?
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
We haven't done that in a while.
Let's do that while I
put your gear on. Okay. Oh, it's the end of the show already.
Sure is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be leaving soon. That makes you happy. Anyway, why do we say PU?
This is a great
when something
story.
stinks.
Do you know what I thought it was?
Yeah.
May I?
Yeah.
And I didn't read the article.
Yeah.
Okay. I just printed it for you. I thought it was just an abbreviation for putrid.
Oh, see, I never even really gave it any thought.
Putrid. I thought, it stinks.
Well, that's smart.
It stinks. It's putrid, but I don't think that's the right answer.
No. Well, fun though it would be, PU does not stand for.
Oops, sorry.
Thanks, Ronzo. Pretty unsavory, putrid, or even please use deodorant. I didn't even. That's what it says.
So it
here.
doesn't stand for putrid.
According to gramophobia. No, that's right. It's a thing. I don't know. The exclamation likely derives from the early 17th century word pew, which the Oxford English Dictionary defines as expressing contempt, disgust, or derision. Right.
I was way off.
Yeah. Well, that said, the PEW to PU pipeline isn't the only theory behind the expression. It's also been suggested that it comes from an Indo-European word pew, meaning to rot or decay. So next time someone says PU and someone, silent but deadly, think about rotting and decaying. In short, the letters PU have been associated with stench, at least as far back as ancient Rome.
Really?
Yeah. As for whether the expression PU came directly from there or arose in England or somewhere else, we can't be sure. So that's
I was way off.
You were. PU. Did anybody learn anything today?
Sure.
17th century. That's where it comes from. 17th century. And it means to rot. Or sting.
I got to come up with some new numbers.
I think Hazel just farted, to be honest with you.
No, Hazel doesn't do that.
Wow, that was quite an ending.
Oh, you like that?
You were covering her farts.
I'll shake my bellows to end things.
Yeah, wow.
There you go. Kids, don't try the shaking of the bellows at home.
Don't do
right?
that. You'll lose some teeth. Big news. What are you going to be doing on Friday?
Oh, this Friday I'm going to be filling in for Matt Allen on WPRO. I'll be on from noon till 3.
Well, how about that?
Doing his award-winning program.
Yes.
And I would love to hear from you. It'd be a great thing, And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while. And I want to say thanks for that opportunity. And hopefully you'll call in.
And people will be able to call in. So make sure you say hello, how much you missed him, and give him a piece of your mind.
Give me some grief.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe I'll call in.
All right, I'm ready for it.
All right.
You'll find a smile will go a long, long way.